This is a review of the Blitzwolf BW ET1 flashlight. Banggood sent me this early release flashlight version to review. So I'll put a link in the description of the video to the light, which contains a lot more details about it, as well as any other relevant information. So what is this? It's a flashlight that operates off a single AA battery. And that battery can be an alkaline, it can be something like a nickel metal hydride battery like this, it can be an Energizer lithium primary battery, or it can be a lithium-ion battery, such as 14500 sized lithium-ion battery. And the advantage of operating a lithium-ion is you get higher outputs with that. Otherwise, the function of the flashlight is exactly the same. So, what do you get with the flashlight? You get a box. You get a manual, warranty card, you get a lanyard, some old spare O-rings, you get an optional 2 AA sized tube for it, which I'll describe later. You get this, which is not what you're thinking, unless you're thinking it's a diffuser for the flashlight, in which case it's exactly what you think it is, and I'll describe that a little bit later. So what are the specs for the flashlight? What I measure and what the flashlight specs are listed at is very close. The difference is that the light I am going to review is a neutral white version of the light operating at 4300 Kelvin for the color temperature, which is a warmer light in color than what the specs list, which is the cool white version, which is between 6 and 6500 Kelvin. So with the cool white version, you'd get higher output, which is what the specs listed as. With neutral white, I get a little bit lower output I measure it at, but you do get the warmer tint. So it's up to you, whatever you prefer, neutral white. I like the neutral white as a tint, but cool white is nice for those that like a bright light. The light can operate everywhere from 1 lumen, which is a moonlight mode, up to about what I measure on a neutral white, about 500 lumens for the maximum output on a lithium-ion cell. The maximum output on a nickel metal hydride cell, such as an Eneloop, is about 150 lumens is what I measure. And that's on the neutral white. The cool white would be closer to what the specs are. So, how do you use the light? Well, it's very simple. Click to turn on, click to turn off. And it really is that easy. Now, there's a lot of other features that you can use. Once you turn the light on, if you press and hold the button, you have a ramp in functionality, and it depends which way it goes. It'll either ramp down or it'll ramp up. Whatever you used last time, it'll ramp the other direction. Now here I've ramped it all the way down to moonlight mode, which is the 1 lumen mode. If I press and hold the button again, it will slowly ramp up in brightness. And when it blinks, that means it's at medium output, which is 50% brightness. And if you keep holding, it'll eventually blink 3 times, which indicates it's at maximum brightness. Now it does have mode memory, so if you turn the light off and then turn it back on, it'll remember whatever mode you last used it in. So in this case I left it at maximum, and this is the mode that it'll operate at. If I press and hold the button to choose some different mode, let's choose something a little bit less than medium, but not quite moonlight. Here we're down to maybe 20 lumens in brightness. If I click it off, turn it back on, it comes on in that sort of 20 lumen output. Now, if you want to immediately go to maximum without actually having to slide up to that maximum, just double click and that'll shoot you right up to the maximum output. And it doesn't remember it. So if you turn the light off and turn it back on, it will go back into the medium output or whatever mode you programmed it into. Now, it will remember maximum if that's the mode you program it into, but for most purposes, you're probably going to program something in. I like around 50 lumens for an output. For most uses, and that's probably what you'll program in. You'll get a good long runtime with 50 lumens. You'd probably get close to 6 hours with that output. So that's probably what you're going to use most of the time. Or for those that want maximum output, especially if you're running it on a 14500 cell, program in maximum. All you need to do is just single click the light on and it'll come on in maximum, which will be your 500 lumens. It does have a couple other functions. If you want a strobe, just triple click and it'll do a flashing strobe. You can also press and hold for an SOS strobe for those that want a strobe. It won't remember that though. If you turn the light off, turn it back on, it'll just come on in the standard mode. Features of the light are that it is powered by, as mentioned, any kind of AA size battery. It has a magnet in the tail, which is really useful for attaching it to any metal surface, and it'll just stay there. So it can be taken out if you want. It just unscrews and you can take out the magnet. But it's kind of nice to have that function in there, especially if you have it somewhere that you want to attach it and use it hands-free. It is waterproof to the IPX8 standard, which means it can be submerged 2 meters for up to 30 minutes. So basically it's waterproof. It's not going to get damaged if you drop it in the water somewhere. And it has long run times. It works off of medium mode from a AA battery of about 4 hours. Now there is an optional battery extender. In this case, you would simply unscrew the light, take out the single AA holder, put in the 2 AA holder. It makes for a longer light, but it doubles your runtime. It doesn't change the output brightness. So if you run it off 2 AA batteries, you'll get twice the runtime. Actually, a little bit better than twice the runtime. I found on a medium mode, you'll get 9 hours runtime on using 2 AAs versus about 4 hours if you use a single AA. So for those that need longer runtimes, it's a good option to have. Otherwise, the more compact size of it, running off a single AA or a 14500 is more sort of user-friendly. I think it makes a great camping light. And the reason for that is the optional, well, it's not optional, it comes with the light. It's the diffuser. So you put the diffuser on the light, and when you turn it on, it operates just like a lantern. And that allows you to place it on a table, in order if you're playing cards or something like that, place it on your picnic table, and it'll light up the area without causing a direct glare in your eyes. So that's a handy feature. As well, with the magnetic tail clip, if you have something metal in the top of your tent, such as where your poles connect or something like that, you can stick the light upside down and hang it off the top of your tent. And this, with the diffuser, will make a nice even light all through your tent. And you can program it to any mode you want, especially if you program it to something like a moonlight or a very low mode. You can leave that light on in your tent while you're getting ready for bed, and it'll make a nice even light without any kind of direct spots that you're looking for if you're looking for things, or any direct glare in your eyes. So I think with the diffuser and the ability to program in any mode you want, it does make a great light for camping. You can also use it as a everyday carry light. It is fairly small. It fits in a pocket just fine. So there's, it can be used in that purpose as well. With the 2 AA version, again, I think if you want long run times that would last sort of all night a light, you use the 2 AA holder for the light, and that'll give you a camping light that you don't have to worry about running out all night long. The 2 AA carrier here also has a clip for attaching to a pocket or something like that. The single AA here has a lanyard holder right there for attaching lanyards too. So you can use it in either configuration. You can use it in either the clip or lanyard, depending on how you like to carry it. I think if you're using a 2 AA version, you probably would want the clip on it, because it does make it a little bit too long to carry in a pocket. The light does have an ability to lock it out. So if you have the light on and you give the head just a slight twist, it'll shut the light off, and you cannot then turn it on with the power button. So if you're carrying it in a backpack or something like that and you're worried about maybe it turning on, I don't think it would. The switch is stiff enough so that the light won't come on with normal storage. But for those that want to store it in a long-term area that they definitely don't want it to turn on, they can then twist the light off. And I just twisted it tight, and then the light just comes on. Just to show you the inside of the battery area, just unscrew it. Battery just fits in like that. Pop the battery in, screw the light together, and then comes on like that. The light uses a XPL LED from Cree, and the light indicates that it uses a V5 bin. So it's an efficient LED that it uses, and that does show up in the long run times you get from the light. In summary, I think it's a nice little light. It's can be used as an everyday carry light for those that like to carry flashlights in their pocket. It's small enough. And with the diffuser though, I think it makes a really nice light for camping use. You could use it in a moonlight mode like this, or use it in a brighter configuration for lighting up an area if you're playing cards or something like that. Yeah, I like the stepless brightness. Choose any brightness level you want between 1 lumen and 500 lumens, and you're good to go. It's quality light. It feels good, feels solid, nice fit in the hand. It's got some knurling in there for a good grip, some grooves in the head here for dissipation of heat, especially if you're running it at 500 lumens. That's good to have. It's anodized aluminum. Yeah, it's got a good deep bezel there over the lens. Lens has an anti-reflective coating on it. LED is well centered. Yeah, it's well put together. The switch feels good, and yeah, it's a nice light.